Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. John Kelly Profile here, and welcome. Welcome to today's show. Gilgo Beach, a serial killer, and Asa's denial. Asa's denial. Is she in denial? Well, I gotta tell you, denial is not a river in Egypt in this case, right? Bottom line here is Rex Heuermann is absolutely positively innocent to proven guilty in a court of law. No question about it. I'm going to get this stuff out of the way. I want to send our deepest condolences out to the family and friends of the Gilgo Beach serial killers' victims. God bless the victims and God bless their family and friends. Terrible what they got to go through here. It's horrible. And we got a big trial coming up. I also want to talk about our other channel, Thrive, John Kelly's Thrive. If you have any problems at all with addiction in your family, there's any problems with any kind of addiction, substance abuse, gambling, any kind of heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, use this channel, John Kelly's Thrive. It's out there. It's free. No gimmicks. Go check it out. We've got it loaded with a lot of educational information to help you on your journey through addictive illness if anybody in your family is suffering from it, or if you're suffering from it yourself. Bottom line is the biggest serial killer out there is addiction. Make no mistake about it. Also today, I would like to talk about my book. Yeah, folks, I want to thank you so much for the purchases of my book. I truly appreciate it. I appreciate not only your purchases, but your kind comments. This is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly of John Kelly, Discovering Lazarus, how I came from a serious drug addiction, became a counselor, moved on to become a psychotherapist, and finally a profiler. So here I am. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly of John Kelly, Discovering Lazarus. Thank you so much for all your purchases and great feedback. You also, too, please like and subscribe if you like where we're going on this. We always love your likes. And of course, we always love your subscriptions. There's no question about it. A lot of people believe that Asa is lying and had information and knew more about Rex's suspected killings. I can't co-sign that. I really can't co-sign that. I have a really hard time with that. After watching this new documentary that's out there, I mean, I got to tell you that, I really believe that she did not know anything, or if there were a couple of warning signs, she was in absolute positive denial. There's no question about it. And, she does throughout the documentary make some good points on Rex's time, where he was spending it, and his behavior. So, according to her, she doesn't believe that Rex is a serial killer. I've seen that many times in the past as well, with other serial killers' wives, men that have been convicted of being serial killers. Rex is not yet. He's a suspect going to court for these serial murders. But Ace has tried, and making a good argument, as far as I'm concerned, that she was not aware. However, you have to understand that, we look at other serial killers and we look at their wives. I'll throw some out there for you. Gary Ridgway's wife, she had no clue. She had no clue. When he got arrested, she was heartbroken. She was deeply in love with him. And he had a child as well. Like Rex has a couple of children here. I mean, she had no clue. There were no warning signs. And, so she ended up believing him until he got convicted, believing him until after the trial. She didn't get a divorce until after the trial. When you look at the Golden State Killer's wife, same situation. She had no clue. She believed and had trust in her husband, who was a cop. where he was going hunting or whatever he was doing, where he was spending his time. She didn't have a clue, and you have to ask yourself, were there some simple signs? Were there some warning signs? But are they in denial? Okay, denial is a major, major protector of the psyche, and sometimes the person's mind, their psyche, cannot take anything that could pertain to the loved one being such a monster or being so evil. I mean, that's true. That's true. Denial is very, very powerful. Okay. So anyway, Asa also made some very good points about going on vacations and different excuses why Rex said he couldn't go. Now, do I believe the excuses from Rex why he couldn't go? I mean, this is a guy, yeah, he was very busy, I'm sure. Covered a lot of ground in New York, did a lot of work, right? Getting licenses to do reconstruction or whatever of buildings, remodeling of buildings, whatever. But the bottom line is these guys are master, master, master manipulators. And I have to tell you, with Rex Heuermann, if he is a serial killer, I'm going to tell you he's one of the best manipulators I've ever seen, and he's one of the smartest serial killers I've ever seen. I'll tell you that, no doubt about it. Because if he happens to turn out to be this serial killer, I mean, we're looking at changes of MO, transportation of the bodies, a long ways away. You know, I mean, just cutting up the bodies, scattering the remains. I mean, getting rid of things, tattoos and different things that could possibly identify the bodies. I mean, this guy, if he's the killer, he's one of the shrewdest that I've seen, very smart, and not scared to work. Not scared to work and put the effort into get rid of a body until the end. Like, if he is the guy, this is how they all get caught. They get a little bit lax, a little bit lazy. They don't put the same effort into it. They don't put the same type of focused thinking into it. And all of a sudden, right by his house, he leaves 4 bodies that have not been mutilated, and the remains are all intact, and everything's right there, and pretty much almost at his doorstep, right? So you can see, how he evolved, and then how he devolved, coming down, and that's how they usually get caught. They usually get caught because they think they're so smart they can get away with anything, and they make mistakes because they get lax, and they don't have the same focus as they did in the beginning. So anyway, he's a very smart guy that made the ultimate mistakes. If he is the killer, and he's going to be he's going to be gone for a long time if, in fact, he gets found guilty. The other person whose wife did not know either, is very interesting. BTK. She didn't divorce him until after the trial. A lot of these women will stick by their man, and a lot of it is because they love their man. A lot of which Asa portrayed in that documentary that I watched last night, and also because they can't, their mind won't come to that realization, and that's why they'll stay in denial. They cannot accept that their husband could be such a killer. I mean, take for example, you're home, you're cooking, you're waiting for your husband to come home, and then all of a sudden, the cops and the FBI show up, and they say, "Well, he won't be coming home. He's over in the jail, and we've arrested him for various murders." We believe he's a serial killer, and we're going to be coming in here and searching your house and, doing what we got to do here. So just to let you know that he won't be home for supper. So, yeah, have a nice day. See ya. I mean, that is so shocking. You talk about shock and awe. Can you imagine having your loved one not come home and but having the cops come up and cops show up, and the FBI show up and kind of tell you why he won't be showing up for a red dinner? Surprise, surprise, right? So you got to understand that denial, and I have to believe this is very powerful in Asa's case as well. Her denial is a powerful protector of her psyche. I mean, you got to understand, think about this for a second. You got a woman, okay, with two children, one with special needs, that is dependent on this man to survive, not only for her, but for her children too. So she's not going to be the first one online saying, oh, yeah, he did it. He's a serial killer. I could tell he wasn't around because she seemed to keep pretty good track of his time, at least enough for her psyche to absorb, enough for her to accept. Okay. She's heard enough of his excuses, and obviously they made sense to her and she accepted them for whatever reason. But, miles and miles and miles away from him being a serial killer or, in fact, being out there and going out with sex workers. I have to understand what's going on in this woman's life and what was going on in her life and what hinges on him being a murderer and serial killer or not. Okay, I mean this is just getting started, and it's gotten off to a quick start. So this is what I'm trying to say to you. This is extremely, extremely important. Like I said, denial is extremely powerful, and Ace admitted she was deeply in love with Rex Heuermann. Folks, I have seen this throughout my career. Don't forget, I was a counselor, psychotherapist. You got to understand, I have seen a lot of people in denial of what their loved one is doing, especially if it's something self destructive, like especially if it's their child and, they think that something could happen to their child, their loved one, child, husband. I mean, they can denial is very powerful. It's hard to break through, very hard to break through. And in many cases that I was involved with families who had a loved one suffering from addictive illness, I mean, they were not in denial of how powerful the addiction was and that the addiction could possibly kill them. They couldn't comprehend. They didn't want to comprehend that their loved one could die. It's hard to comprehend. I mean, there's people on their deathbed right now that don't believe they're going to die. Denial is very, very powerful. It protects the psyche. It's a very powerful protector of the psyche. There's no question about it. And also, when they stay in denial, guess what? They become enabling. Because if they're in denial about what's really going on, they just go about their business and do nothing, and nothing happens, nothing happens. And I really believe that this woman did not have too many warning signs. I think she would have got hit to one or two of them at least. I do have some concerns about, down cellar or in the back where the private room was, and the vault, the gun vault. Yeah, I have some concerns about that. But I got to tell you what, this guy's very manipulative, very smart. He took advantage of her, as far as I'm concerned. If in fact he's the guy, I really do. I really do believe he took advantage of her. And you know what? This guy's not scared to work, and he's not scared to clean. This guy's not scared to clean up after himself. There's no question about it. And he was into carpentry work big time, you know, and he knew a lot about woodworking and stuff. Pretty hard to catch this guy If you're gone for 2, 3, 4 weeks or something, gone on some lengthy vacation, you're not going to come home to a mess that's going to scream out to you that somebody was murdered here in this house. She didn't see that. I totally believe she didn't see that. I don't believe the daughter saw it either, to be honest with you. And again, she admitted she was deeply in love with him. So here we go. I mean, that's a major part of a dynamic with denial. They love the person so bad they want to believe that the romance isn't over, the marriage isn't over. Because just don't forget, if this marriage is over, and it is, these people have to figure out how to support themselves. There's going to be all kinds of lawsuits and everything. They have to pay their attorneys. And again, that emotional relationship, that addiction to love, if you will, between two people, is a very, very extremely strong emotional connection, and can really support denial in many different ways. Then we have the physical and financial needs of her children. I mean, think that wouldn't support her denial as well? you know, I mean, what am I going to do now? You know, how am I going to make a living now? I've got a special needs child too. My daughter can work, but what am I going to do? How am I going to take care of my child? Where am I going to get a house? How am I going to do that? How does she support herself and her children? It's the bottom line here, right? I'm not saying if she doesn't have any part in this or some connection or could have rang the warning bells earlier that she shouldn't have done it, and that she would be, guilty of hiding something. But the bottom line to me is I don't see it. I just don't see it. I really don't. I really don't. And what I don't see, the denial makes up for. Because as I said before, just off the top of my head, we've got BTK. His wife didn't know. We've got, the most deadliest serial killer that we know of in U.S. history in Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer. His wife didn't know. And then we got the Golden State Killer, who was a cop, and his wife didn't know. Okay, and these guys are into some heavy stuff, as you all know. You true crime detectives that are following this stuff. Again, we got to talk about how manipulative these guys are. All right, now you got to understand, this guy ran a business in Midtown Manhattan. Travel time going to work, coming home from work. He seems to be home eating most of the nights. I know that's one of the questions detectives want to know. Does he spend a lot of time out of the house? All right. I mean, that's only common sense. They're gonna whack her with that question right off the hop. But you also have to remember this, okay? That as much as they say he's guilty and he is their man and he's the suspect here going to court, they have said they believe the family and especially Asa had no involvement in this at all. The law enforcement said that. Believe me, they don't usually come out and say something like that. They usually don't. I mean, that takes quite a while for them to come out with a statement like that. If you remember, in this case, pretty much they came out with that statement right off the hop, as far as Asa goes, that a lot of these, if not all of these murders took place in the house when the family was gone on vacation. We'll see. I think there's more. If he's the guy, I think there's more murders. Let me just put it to you this way: as far as the Gilgo Beach serial killer goes, I believe they got a lot more bodies out there. And he set down terms. He didn't want anybody involved in his gun vault or his private room. Whatever his explanation was for that, they respected it. What can I tell you? good, bad, or indifferent, whether you like it or you don't like it. I mean, to me, that would make me certainly suspicious, but I'm a suspicious guy anyway. So, but for somebody in love, and, in denial, and especially with, the guy that brings home the bread and butter. I mean, I wouldn't have. I don't know how much of an argument she was willing to put up with them over something she felt was so, in her mind, felt was so trivial. Because somebody doesn't want you in a room doesn't mean they're a serial killer, for sure, right? So to me, it sounds like she didn't see any red flags in their relationship, and she seemed very comfortable with the way he was treating and caring for the children. So what could I tell you? All I can tell you is more will be revealed, and we'll stay on top of it. But I believe Asa. I believe she did not know, and if there were any signs that her denial would have intervened and protected her psyche and covered it up, because she looked like a very truthful woman to me on camera when I watched that docu series. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. I can't thank you enough. Where would we be without you guys? Please give us your comments. We love your comments. We want to hear from you. Tell us what you think. Right, wrong, or indifferent. Nobody's wrong here. It's just our feelings, just what we think, right? It's our opinion. Everybody deserves opinion. Most importantly, take care of yourself. And until we meet again, stay safe and God bless. Thank you.